Wow. As soon as I sat down to record this, a whole bunch of energy just started flooding in quite intensely, and I noticed my voice got a little bit wobbly. So just know if that comes through, it's part of the energy of this message. I'm guided to talk to you about Saturn stationing direct in the next few days and this opportunity that it's bringing in the next days, weeks, and few months to really close out the karmic patterns that you have been working on. If you look back, especially since like June, July, when things really started to slow down, we talked about being bored. We talked about having all these void moments. And recently, there's been this confusion energy coming up. The confusion is really common when we have planets that have been retrograde and they're about to go direct. Because what's happening is all that information and energy that you've been working on from the past is moving into the present, and then it's going to start leading us into the momentum forward. But when we're in these little pockets, these time frames around the actual retrograde going direct or direct any energy going retrograde, it can feel like it can feel overwhelming or chaotic or confusing because there's so many different things coming up at once. And so with Saturn, this huge planet of karma, actually moving forward in the next few days, along with this coinciding with Mercury going direct. And we have the holiday of Thanksgiving here in the States. We just moved into Sagittarius. There's quite a bit of energy that's up to be reviewed and cleared and moved through. So, yesterday I touched in with this energy of the confusion and also using the opportunity to bring in the organizing power. I did record a 49-minute session around that. I'll put it in the pinned comments. You can connect with it if you like. It's on Patreon or my web store. But it really went into the core wound energies. So some of you may be feeling or recognizing that more of the core wound is coming up in what I'm sensing, what I'm seeing, what I'm experiencing, and also what I've spoken to others about is where these past energies or past wounds are opening. And what this is the opportunity for you to bring the results of who you are now. So, what I'm sensing and seeing is that this is wounds, separation wounds from this life. And yes, it can absolutely 100% be with your twin flame divine counterpart, but you also may find that this goes back to your birth or your parents or your family. This is also connecting in with past lives, other lives, cosmic contracts, interdimensional contracts, especially connected with Earth. That was a deeper message that came on my member video last night, that as we are really getting underneath these four wounds and really embodying our essences deeper underneath the old fears and pain, what it's doing is not only allowing more of our own higher power and soul essence to come home more deeply and directly to our body, this is also allowing new spaces to open for Source, the creator of our being, to come more clearly and directly home to our body. So that wound of feeling separated from the source, feeling separated from the counterpart, is the reflection of feeling separated from yourself, your own aspects, your own energy. So the deeper you're working with healing and sealing those wounds, that's what came through. It was like the organizing power session was revealing where more of the wounds were sort of hidden, the breeding, sort of clearing out the fears that were living on top of the true energy, and then healing and sealing up those wounds so that then you can open up new pathways to what aligns for you now. So these energies seem to be very, very potent and prominent right now in the collective. So I've been noticing these core wound energies since last weekend, but it's really come forward and been revealed that this feels collectively that we are getting underneath those deeper karmic, toxic, wounded patterns. And so I had this vision that I want to share with you. And what I was seeing was for those of you who are on the counterpart path, the twin flame path journey, this may resonate, but it was showing the confusion around the core wound where you feel that deep, true, honest, genuine love. And then where the rip in the wound occurred was that deep, genuine fear, pain, and trauma. And where it all mixed in together, it can feel exceedingly confusing, which is why when we go through the dark night of the soul, it's so overwhelming because you're feeling the extremes of those two things. The most beautiful, blissful love you've ever felt, now mixed and distorted with the deepest pain and fear you have ever felt. And so, kudos to those of you who have supported yourself through that process and have been coming out the other side and building strength. So, what this opportunity is allowing, if you feel guided, is to let yourself reopen back to that original moment or those feelings if there's still some of in your system. Okay, if it's still there in your system, it'll open if it feels aligned. And this is about now bringing your steady, stable, secure self to that energy where you once felt unstable, where you once felt scared, where you once wanted to run, where you once wanted to chase. All of those things that you have healed and tempered and balanced within yourself, now you can bring those results back to that wound, and your presence within the wound, within the rip, is what can heal and seal it. Everything that's not true to you now can leave. Where before, when we would pop out of our body or we would run or freeze or wall, what that did was it held those old energies, the fears, the sadness, the pain, it held it in place. It froze it. We could dissociate and move through life and let it go, or lifetimes, right? But now what we're doing is unearthing and healing and clearing those out so we can restore and reclaim our full sovereignty, our full beingness, right? All of who we are, all the aspects of who we are as humans in our physical form. And so as we're moving through these deeper layers, again, what I was being shown, the message that came through is that it's also allowing, as you go through this, if you feel guided, I have a feeling for some of you, it's already been just naturally occurring. So this might just be a confirmation for you that this is actually helping to close out the old toxic patterns between the twin flame divine counterparts. So if there was places and spaces where it was too painful or you were just guided to not go there or to leave it be, you may find that you're called to these places and spaces now to embody. Again, for yourself. So if your counterpart or twin flame is not present or available, this is always something you can continue to shore up for yourself and for that shared space. And what was coming through was that there was a time when the counterparts struggled to walk away from one another or close down the toxic energies. And that pain and the love was so mixed. And then that was when that sort of divine separation would come in and split the two so that they could go and do their work, right? So now it's sort of like that coming back. And this feels like a collective overarching energy that collectively we're working on together. So some of you may have already come back into union or communication. I know there's all varying states. Some of you may not have had communication for quite some time, but collectively, we've all been working on these similar energies, and we've reached this pivot point where things are well, I don't want to sort of, but yes, it's in process. Like it is. It's not just sort of. Like we are closing out those old karmic loops and patterns as we drop in the results of who we are now. Many of you can even think back to right prior to going into a divine separation or timeout with your counterpart. Doesn't matter, masculine or feminine. If you go back and look at it and you look at the version of who you are now, I can probably bet every single one of you, I would be shocked if it wasn't every single one of you would handle those situations very different. And you probably look and notice where you were once unstable, you're stable. Where you were insecure, you feel secure. Where you lacked confidence, you feel confident. Where you had self-doubt, now you trust yourself, right? In these areas that I'm bringing up, if you don't fully feel those yet, that's okay. Now you know where you can shore yourself up. Now you know what you can work more deeply within to strengthen your own inner union energies, right? So, this opportunity that we have with the literal planet of karma that's been supporting us these last months to clear up and clean up and recognize and go deeper within our own standards, right? Preparing for that next shift. Now, as it's going direct, we can actually really start dropping those in. So you may find that you are presented with more opportunities to embody more deeply who you are. So when experiences come forward, or new people, or places, or things, or even people or experiences from the past resurface, these are always opportunities for you to practice and embody into who you are now. It's not about going backwards. It's about the opportunity to handle the situation with the skill set that you have right now, right? Who you are now, and who are you strengthening into? Who are you evolving and embodying into? Because remember, what this point that we are reaching, yes, we're still cleaning up. Yes, we're still working on it. But that overarching phase that we have been in, we are on the cusp of really cleaning up and closing that out so that we can more deeply step into the new foundation. We're sort of straddling the worlds right now, but that's appropriate. That makes sense. This is really in the scheme of how big these topics are and the patterns that we're transmuting. This is actually really fast what we've been accomplishing. Okay. I know in the day to day, it doesn't always feel that way, but I also sense that many of you have been feeling the shifts. You do feel the momentum. You do feel that internal strength and union that you've built. You're seeing results in how you move, how you live, how you interact with the world, even if the world hasn't caught up to recognizing or seeing or understanding you just yet. But this is okay because these are the things that are needing to be seeded so that humanity can move in these directions of sovereignty and unity consciousness. All right. So, again, that organizing power session is available. It's recorded. I'll put it down in the pinned comment. I also do actually have those, I did offer those 30-minute sessions. Um, 30-minute intuitive readings. I don't do those often. I do have a few left for next week. I'm just going to leave it at that next week and then we'll see where it goes. Maybe I'll bring them back down the road if it's something that that is supportive for you. Okay, or just remember when I do my readings, it's not about what blah blah blah. It's literally about what can you do, right? I'm not the type of reader that goes into being nosy about what everyone else is doing. If those things come through because it's aligned and in your highest interest, we will do it. But mostly, really, what we're working on is what are going to be the most beneficial messages for you to find your happiness, your peace, and your resolution, regardless of what everyone else is doing. You feel me? But I do want to still bring in a few more messages for you. Uh, with these energies again as we move into the Thanksgiving holiday here in the States. And again, like I said, Saturn and Mercury staging direct through this process and you honoring whatever you are guided to do to support yourself through this process. So I just want to see what wants to come through. Okay. Cosmic womb, the divine feminine. Wow. Okay. Mhm. And then hostilities, conflict, and unrest. Very interesting. We have two very deep, different energies. You would say they feel conflicting, right? The conflict. But what's actually coming through is as you're clearing out the old stories and the old wounding, essentially you could even bring it down into doing a womb space clearing. This does feel very deeply connected to the womb and especially the heart space for these um, core wound healings. But as you're healing and cleaning up the internal conflict, bringing in the results of who you are now into the past stories, into the past conflicts, the past chaos, confusion, misunderstanding, and again, dropping in that organizing power. This feels like pretty deep. Okay, just give me a moment. I do feel quite a bit. It's like the feminine harnessing that higher power to pull it through, down, and then birthing it onto the planet through her in that energy of bringing in deeper states of that higher consciousness through her body, embodying it for herself, and then making it available for the planet as she cleans up that inner conflict, right? That starts to reflect in the outer. It brings in and grounds and anchors the codes for clearing conflict on our planet. Okay. I actually feel like I'm going to go deeper into this specific energy around what the feminines are working on, what might want to come through for the feminines with this planetary womb space messages. So I'm going to post that in my members. I'll post it in the post tab when it is completed. But there you have it. All the information will be in the pinned comments. For those of you that have been feeling this and working on these energies, this may also be a deeper message to just acknowledge and honor what you have already been working on, what you've been in the process in, and maybe this will help provide that bigger eagle eye perspective that as you're healing those core wound conflicts, you're helping to seed and ground in the unity codes and sovereignty codes through your vessel. All right, my loves, I'm going to leave it there. I'll see you soon. Sending you so much love. Hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Take care. Much love.